it took a long time for enough research to show that's a total myth. There's nothing a high-ranking male baboon, there's nothing a male baboon, there's nothing a baboon ever does that's not purely driven out of self-interest. And they're not leading the troop to like better foraging grounds. They're not standing up to lions to defend the poor and weak. They are, purely opportunistic. These are not nice altruistic animals. So you don't get leadership in that sense. And when you look at anything resembling leadership, say, for example, in the morning, they're all coming down from their trees and they're about to wander in the savannah and they can go all these different directions. And who decides what direction they're going to go? Not the alpha male, because he showed up 6 years ago and he still hasn't learned what the trees are 4 valleys from here. It's the old females, the matriarchs, who are 20 years old, and they're the ones who lead in the morning. So that's the closest thing to leadership. But like in a broader sense of your question, forget different types of alpha male leadership, but different types of group culture. Another one of those words, oh my God, if you ever said the word culture with respect to monkeys, like back when, they'd immediately drive you out of the business. It's one of the trendiest words in the field now because you have different social temperaments of different groups, how often they fight, how often they groom, a whole bunch of things like that. And what I was finally able to do about 25 years into the work was have enough different troops under enough different historical circumstances under study to be able to see, wow, for this half decade, this was a much nicer troop to be in than in the decade before that. Here's the reasons why, blah, blah, long stories, all of that. Or this troop has become really aggressive and displacing aggression hostile ever since their territory shrank. And what you see is perfectly logical. If you're going to be a low-ranking baboon, you want to be as healthy as possible, pick a troop that's going through a period where folks are relatively nice to each other. So there's massive cultural differences in terms of everyday life, but also how much your body is being subjected to stress, more importantly, how much your psyche is, and what your long-term consequences are. So that's a totally right on the button question. Some baboon troops you really wouldn't want to transfer into, but others are much better.
So the alpha's not necessarily leading, but different kinds of alpha personalities, I would guess, set the tone for how the whole troop is going to interrelate. So are there more successful personalities? I would guess, again, the same ones that aren't paranoid and constantly fighting, their troop can at least relax somewhat. And like you said, the matriarchs take over some part of the leadership, other ones. Okay. So that's what happens, right? The ones that are they influence, they don't lead, but at least they influence by being what they are.
Yeah. And being one of those insecure alphas, you're not as important. You don't know what's going on socially, the old females do, but nonetheless, you can make life miserable for anyone you want in there. And when you have these insecure, anxious alphas, not only are they not ignoring provocations and getting into fights, not only are they starting fights that they really shouldn't, but they're dumping on everybody's lower ranking whenever they're stressed. They're displacing the majority of baboon aggression is somebody taking out their frazzled state on an innocent bystander. So you get one of these alphas who doesn't do that, not because he believes in, communal love or some such thing, but his personality is such that he's not easily provoked. He's got good emotional regulation. He's got impulse control, all that sort of thing. So he's not spending half the day raining terror on innocent bystanders. So that makes for a much nicer life for everybody else. And you see changes in everybody else's behavior then. And one of the rules you see is you get one of these over-the-top frantic alphas who's just making everyone miserable, and everyone who even remotely crosses him, he's in a fight with them. At some point, he's going to get a major injury. At some point, it's going to go septic. At some point, he's going to be limping around and the hyenas get him. Or at some point, some coalition forms and takes him down. Those are the guys who don't last long. Aggression and muscle and all of that has everything to do with attaining high rank in this species, but social intelligence and self-control has everything to do with maintaining it. And when you're one of the ones who's good at those social intelligence skills, everybody's doing better, not because you're an enlightened leader, but because you figured out how to spend all day long having females groom you instead of all day long, like having fights with people.